Wherever you are in the world today, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to your first day at UBC Okanagan School of Engineering. I am Meena Hurfa, Director of the School of Engineering and Professor of Mechanical Engineering. I would like to acknowledge UBC Okanagan is situated in the territory of Sills Okanagan Nation and their peoples. You're joining us today from many places near and far, so I would like to acknowledge traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. We would have liked very much to welcome you in person today and provide you with experience that our 14 previous undergraduate cohort experienced on their first day on campus. Instead, we're celebrating your first day, our largest cohort ever, through virtual Create activities. As an engineer, you will learn when you face a problem or limitation like what pandemic created for us, you turn that problem into an opportunity. That's what we did. In the past few months, our faculty and staff members worked very hard to create exciting online teaching platforms. I'm excited. I hope you are too. During our event today, you will meet our Executive Associate Dean, Dr. Rehan Sadiq, the instructors who are going to teach your first year courses, members of our advising team, including our Professional Development Officer, members of the co-op team, and a panel of students will tell you what you need to prepare to succeed in your upcoming academic year. You've heard engineering is tough, it's challenging. I had my own share of challenges at the beginning of my engineering undergraduate career. Indeed, I nearly didn't continue in engineering. If it was not for my fabulous instructor in my undergraduate studies, I wouldn't be where I am today. The secret that has always helped me is to follow my passion. If you're interested in a certain type of engineering, or you wanted to learn different things, or you wanted to join student clubs, organizations, or you wanted to do research, just reach out. In today's environment, it's as simple as sending an email or making a phone call. Be persistent. Believe me, that will pay off. Equally as important, try to listen to yourself. If you feel overwhelmed, which is nothing to be ashamed of, reach out for help. Consult UBC Wellness and our advising team. Try to establish a study group or support group with peers. As a faculty, we're all here to support you. Last but not least, always ask questions. As a researcher, it's my job to be curious and solve problems. As an undergraduate student, I encourage you to do the same. If you're uncertain about a certain topic, there is a high probability that someone else shares the same uncertainty. So ask your instructor. Ask the TA. We are all here to support you and to make sure that you succeed. Finally, I wish you all the very best in your journey to become an engineer, and I'm looking forward to meeting you and to welcoming you to our School of Engineering, to my course, to my lab when it's safe to do so. In the meantime, good luck and welcome to the School of Engineering.
Welcome everyone. My name is Rehan Sadiq and I'm Executive Associate Dean, School of Engineering. I'm very happy to welcome all of you on the behalf of School of Engineering, all the staff and faculty and everyone. You made it. School of Engineering provides a great platform for engineering, and we are very proud of our traditions, though we are a very young, new school, but we have the culture of, though we have a big name of UBC, but at the same time, we in School of Engineering is very proud to provide you experience which is more intimate experience. Tradition has been that we are very close to our students, and we are basically helping not only me as the Associate Dean, but our directors, our associate directors and other advising staff are very close to you in terms of advising you where you need your help and support. We are in very different situation now where all of us are adapting to it. We have tried our best. I think this summer was the busiest summer I ever had, though I've been in this system for 12 years, just for preparing ourselves to give our students the best possible experience. We will do our best. I will ensure you as an Executive Associate Dean that you will get your best experience, whatever we can do under the circumstances. We can adapt to our teaching. The most important thing from all of you who are transitioning from high schools to university environment, you have to adapt to the new learning norms. So School of Engineering is not only accepts students, new students from just coming out of high school. Many of you have a different journey, different story. Many of our students, roughly 20% of our students, are international students. And many of our students are transfer students coming through bridge program or transfer programs. They might have a totally different situation. I can assure you that we don't differentiate between our students. We'll do our best, though we are in an environment where we giving a remote access to resources to our students, but will ensure you your experience will not be different than any other student on our campus. We are working very hard. I am very proud of our faculty who throughout the summer have done excellent job to prepare themselves for this semester. So all the best for this new year. I'll be here to help you out whenever you need it. Thank you.
Hi everyone. It is my honor and privilege as Dean of the Faculty of Applied Science and as a Professor of Mechanical Engineering to welcome you to UBC and this year's Create Day. I really want to start by congratulating you on getting here to UBC. I know that it has taken you a lot of hard work and dedication to make it here. UBC is globally a top public school, and engineering is one of the most difficult and competitive programs to get into, so congratulations. I also thought I'd just share a little bit of my background. One is that I too was a UBC engineering student, although I won't say when I graduated, and have been a professor here for 20 years. I also have 2 children who have gone through the program, one on each campus. So I understand this experience as a student, as a professor, and as a parent. And I want to wish you a great year. It won't be a typical year at UBC, and it won't be typical of your overall experience at UBC either, as I am certain that we will be back on campus next September. I also want you to know how hard all of our professors and staff have worked to make this year an engaging and outstanding experience despite being online and remote. We have been preparing all summer to create a program that we are as proud to deliver today as we have always been. Engineering at UBC is an amazing but demanding and challenging program. You will have to work very hard over the next few years. And before you begin, I'd like to just offer you a little bit of advice. First, live healthy. And that starts with eating right, finding time to exercise. A healthy body is essential for a healthy mind. Second, manage your time and your stress levels. Engineering is a big step up in workload from high school. Don't let yourself fall behind. Get some sleep. And if you feel like you're behind, reach out. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a professor, reach out to your TA, or reach out to your engineering advisor. Third advice, join a club or join a design team. Build a sense of community. It is especially important in this time. Fourth, remember, engineers are professionals with a code of ethics and responsibilities. That code of professional conduct starts right now. The faculty takes integrity very seriously, as it is a pillar of our profession. At UBC, you are an adult now, and you need to take on the responsibility of your own actions. You will inspire those around you and throughout the community. So really, take this time to dream big, take chances. This is an opportunity for you to make mistakes and be bold. And lastly, I just want to say, take care of each other, both physically and mentally. And just enjoy every minute of it and have a fantastic year. Thank you.
My name is Grant Toper, and I am the newly appointed Professional Development Officer. Within my portfolio, I have a mandate to facilitate, provide, and create professional development opportunities which establish a rich network between students, faculty, staff, and the all-important industry leaders. I look forward to working with you all and supporting you I'm always interested to hear what I can do differently or how I can meet your needs, so please reach out to me at grant.toper@ubc.ca or find my information on the faculty website. Thank you so much, best of luck this year, and take care.
Hello, I'm Dr. John Brereton. I'm looking forward to teaching another year. This will be my 4th year. And this year I'll be teaching calculus and physics to first-year students. So I want to welcome everybody, and we'll meet you online very, very soon.
My name is Sepide Parkour. During your first year, you will see me as your instructor for APSI 183, where we will talk about chemistry. And more importantly, we will link our learning to engineering applications, ranging from civil, electrical, mechanical, environmental, and biomedical areas. In later years, I hope to host you in my upper-level classes related to biotechnology and healthy environments. Looking forward to seeing you all in class, and best of luck.
Hello, my name is Yannick Haudero Ekenar. I'm an assistant professor of teaching in the School of Engineering, and in Term 1, I teach APSC 176, Engineering Communication. A fun fact about me is that this year, for the very first time, on New Year's Day, I did the polar bear dip, actually in the lake that's right behind me. If you're not sure what the polar bear dip is, feel free to throw that into a search engine. Welcome to the School of Engineering. I look forward to working with you this term.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ernest Goh, an assistant professor of teaching and a mechanical engineer by training. I teach APSI 180, Statics, which is a part of engineering mechanics. My area of research is in enclosed narrow track electric vehicles. This year, I hope to attract a group of 4th year students to continue working on it as part of the capstone project. It's estimated to go 327 miles per gallon, or 0.72 liters per 100 kilometers in equivalent electricity. Its latest benefit, incidentally, is that it is COVID-proof. I came to Canada from Singapore 4 years ago, so if you want to know anything about Singapore, ask me.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lok Markley. I'm an assistant professor in electrical engineering, and in Term 2, I'll be teaching one section of APSI 178, Electricity, Magnetism, and Waves. Looking forward to meeting you. Until then, stay tuned for a set of bridge modules that I'll be releasing prior to the winter break. They should help you prepare for 178. Finally, if I'm not working or playing with my 2-year-old, you're more than likely to find me out here looking for new lines in the boulder fields. So if I meet you here or in the local gym, don't be shy. Come over and introduce yourself.
Welcome first year engineering students. I'm Dr. Laura Patterson, an associate professor of teaching, and I teach APSI 176 Engineering Communication, so you may see me in that course. My specialty is technical communication and rhetoric, and one interesting thing about me is that I have 2 cats, and while teaching online, they tend to like to show up and make their appearance known. One second. Here's one of them. This is Lishka. She will make appearances in our classes. But in any case, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. Bye.
Hello, I'm Mehran, a lecturer at the School of Engineering. I will teach your linear algebra course starting tomorrow. My background is electrical engineering. I did a PhD on driverless cars. So in the APSI 179 course, you will see many examples of applications of linear algebra in designing self-driving cars. I look forward to seeing all of you.
Hello and welcome to the most exciting journey in your life. I would like to congratulate you for making 2 excellent decisions. First of all, you decided to further your education, and secondly, you decided to come to School of Engineering, UBC Okanagan. My name is Dr. Ray Tahiri, and I will be teaching 3 first-year courses next year, including my signature course, APSI 171 CAD-CAM. Historically, in this course, the students make the headline news. I give you a couple of examples. Personal belonging card made for homeless people was one of them, and clothing donation bin was the second one. It was broadcasted in national TVs all over North America. Now the ball is in your court to show how capable, competent, and creative you are in your design approach. I cannot wait to see you in my class.
Hello, I am Mohammad Tiznovek and I'm a lecturer at the School of Engineering. I teach Engineering Analysis 2 in the next semester. My research interests include curing of concrete, behavior of cementitious material, and durability of concrete infrastructure. For my material research, I'm a recipient of American Concrete Institute Weissen Medal. In my spare time, I enjoy swimming and playing table tennis. I want to welcome you all at the UBC Okanagan.
Welcome to the School of Engineering. I'm Sam Charles. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm the communications manager for the school. And today I'll be moderating this very special Meet the Faculty and Dean event. My job as a communications manager is to tell your stories as students, highlighting the engineering learning and research that takes place on the Okanagan campus. So this event is all about you, and I've noticed within the chat during our opening video that it's been very active, which is nice, but we always have to be careful about what we are putting within these chats. Today, if you have a question, please put it in our Q&A function, which is at the bottom of the screen, or in the chat function as well. And our academic advisors will address your questions, and some of our panelists today will do the same. I'm going to rush through a little bit of our introductions to our panelists so we can get right to your questions. But first, I did want to recognize and thank our Dean of Applied Science, James Olson, the Executive Associate Dean of the School of Engineering, Rehan Sadiq, and the Director of the school, Mina Hufar, for providing those messages at the beginning to welcome you all to your first day and your first year at the School of Engineering. And they're just a couple of the key leaders, but specific ones that look after the School of Engineering. We're also thrilled to have UBC President Santa Ono attending our event here virtually. You may have seen him in the earlier kickoff event for UBC Okanagan, and we thank him very much for supporting the School of Engineering and our first year cohort, the biggest one in the school's history thus far. And as we move towards our panelists, we'll start with Dr. Chow. Yang Chow is a professor of teaching in mechanical engineering and the Associate Director of Undergraduate Studies. Samantha Lakau is an academic advisor with the School of Engineering. She's representing the academic advising team. And typically, if we were all on campus, they'd be on the third floor of Tower 2 of the EME, just down the hall from my office. And just a couple of doors past the academic advisors, when we're on campus, is the co-op team. And joining us from co-op, Sarah Nan. She and her colleague, Jennifer Eberly, are both engineers, and they look after the co-op program on the Okanagan campus. If we don't get to all the co-op questions today, then they'll be holding some info sessions a little bit later this week, which we will advertise across social media on the School of Engineering at UBCO SOE accounts on Instagram, LinkedIn as a group, and Twitter. Our students today, Aidan Mundell is a second-year manufacturing student from Ontario. He's a Schulich Leadership Scholar, and I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize all our incoming first-year scholarship recipients, including 3 Schulich Leadership Scholars and 2 Loren Scholars. Last but not least, Shaira Islam is a fourth-year electrical co-op student. She's from Dhaka, Bangladesh, and came to UBC as an International Leader of Tomorrow Award recipient in 2016. She's currently working with Dr. Nicholas Pellietto to build a machine learning application for predicting the presence of disinfectant in drinking water. So that's our panel. We've run through it pretty quickly because we did want to make sure we had lots of time for your questions. And our first question is going to go to Dr. Chow. And that question is, Dr. Chow, what's the most important piece of advice you'd give to a first-year student?
Thank you, Sam. First of all, welcome to the School of Engineering. This is one of the days I have been looking forward every year because I got to see you, the new cohort of engineering students joining the School of Engineering Applied Science, Faculty of Applied Science. My job portfolio is in student performance, curriculum development. So there are many fronts I will interact with you in the near future. In terms of study tips, basically I summarized into maybe 10 tips using the word graduation. This is actually an information I can't remember which year, and I actually bumped into this when Dr. Ono joined UBC. I think this is one of the tips he gave to students at the University of Cincinnati. Graduation, G, first of all, that's your ultimate goal. You need to graduate. You graduate in 4 years, 5 years, which is normal. Some students even graduate in 6 years. Just remember your journey starts today. R, rate. Remember, you need to review the important information within the syllabus. Check your UBC SOE emails. We old style, we communicate with our students with emails. So your email account is very important. Make sure it is updated in the university information system. 34, attend your class. There are so many benefits of attending classes. Even though this is online, we cannot emphasize the importance of attending the class. Deadline matters. There are many, many deadlines. All of a sudden, you will have deadlines for assignments, quiz, reports, lab report, project reports. What are these deadlines? Put them into your calendar and make sure you are on top of every one of them. There are many resources UBC. Use all the resources wisely, use them often. For example, there's supplemental learning, there's free tutoring surveys, there's health and wellness. There's so many more services inside and outside school engineering within UBC. Make sure you understand who you can talk to. Always be on time. This is a great habit to develop. You may make an appointment with your peer, with your professor, with any other offices. Make sure you realize how important this deadline is, how important to be on time. Talk to your professors. I think one of our leaders has already mentioned about the importance of this. You will probably have various difficulties or challenge with the course. Your professor, your TA are there to help you. So make sure you can talk to them. Don't keep it to yourself. Ask the questions. We're there to help you. Identify your strengths and passion. This is also very important. This is your first year. You might actually not realizing time flies so fast. So what are you going to do? Which company, which industry, which direction you're going to work for? Even though mechanical or civil or electrical, there are so many different directions, so many industry sectors that you can actually work in. So this is the time you can start think about your strengths, think about your passion, and develop your career, develop your network. Own your education. Ultimately, the education is yours. You have to put the time into it, and you have to own it yourself. Of course, we're here to help you, but it is your, ultimately, it is your hard work that really counts. Finally, now is your time, and enjoy your first few days of university, and get on with the hard work, and do it just as usual as you have done in your high school, and I think you will be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. And you did miss one of our programs when you were mentioning where people's strengths are. And I know one of our panelists, and we're going to get to Aiden soon enough, but I did want to reference as well, manufacturing, of course, or the option in mechatronics also could be, and will most likely be, the passion for a number of students out there in their first year or transferring into to UBC Okanagan School of Engineering. Our next question will be directed to Dr. Hurfar, and Dr. Chow, you may wish to also respond to this question. How is online learning going to work this year? And what support systems will students have? And how will they be able to meet other students?
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. So I start, and Dr. Chow, please jump in anytime that you wanted to add more information. So again, welcome everyone. It's amazing to welcome you through this virtual venue. You are setting a milestone. I never thought that we were going to have our Create through a virtual Zoom. This is very interesting and exciting. And the same for us, this is another milestone for us to deliver our courses online. And I think this question refers to that. When it was announced in March that we have to go online, over the weekend, we all transfer our courses through online. So it was very rapid and quick for us. In the past few months, however, in summer, we had enough time to plan very engaging and exciting online program for you. So I can talk about a few options and a few programs that we have that you're going to face during this time. For the incoming students, some of you have enrolled into our STEP program, which they were a couple of weeks or 3 weeks in the late August. So you got familiar with how the online system works. If you haven't been in the STEP program, no worries, you will catch it very quickly. Our faculty members, the first year instructors that you met through this online Zoom, their videos, they are very excited to help you. We are all here to support you. All of our courses are synchronous. So we have a scheduled time that we're going to deliver our courses. Some of the courses, they have recorded videos. So the instructor posts the videos and notes ahead of time. And during the class time, they answer the questions. Some of the classes will be in the form of regular class through the Zoom. So they will, record the class during the Zoom and during the scheduled time. And for some of the classes, especially the first year when we have more than 100 students, you will see we have TA support in the class as well. So the instructor, where he or she is teaching, if there are any question or the chat, the student asking, there's a TA support to make sure that those questions are not remaining unanswered. Also, we are going to have some of the courses as breakout rooms. So you will go to certain breakout rooms and you will talk to the instructor and the TAs. So it's going to be very exciting and a new norm and a new way of teaching and learning as well. For our labs, we've been very busy to create wonderful online labs. In the past summer, our technicians and our staff and our TAs and instructors worked very hard to create videos for the labs. Some of the labs, we also have kits that we send to students to have hands-on experience as well. Some of them are in the form of video pre-made already, and the students get the result and write the lab report. Some of them are going to be during the synchronous time, and the TA will run the experiment during the time of the lab, and the student will follow and ask questions. So there are different modes of delivery, but the most important part is that we are here to make sure this succeeds. Remember, this is also new for us, as new for you. This is the first time everywhere in the world that people are trying in the most university to try to deliver online. For us, it's very exciting. So we help you, and we like to hear from you and your feedback to help us to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hurva. I guess, learning, the outcome of learning is exactly the same. It doesn't matter, it's online or in person. We have always been talking about the difference, but I guess you need to realize there are some challenges associated with online learning. I encourage every one of you to visit one of the UBC website called keeplearning.ubc.ca. There are many important online learning related informations on the website. Those are really helpful, and I think you should look at this, some of the tips and get ready for the challenges. In terms of support, as far as I know, everything that used to be in person available on campus will also be available. I got questions also asked by students, how do I join clubs? And the clubs will have their club days, so they will recruit new students. As far as I know, Engineering Undergraduate Society also planning some evening sessions, for example, online game competitions. So all of these opportunities, some of the Facebook, Instagram, I don't know what other social media that you can access. Make sure join this, get the information, and so you can actually interact with your peer, be social, right? Those are an important part of the university experience.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. And NSOC does have a Canvas shell. And for those of you that are learning a little bit more about how courses are going to be delivered, many of them will be within a Canvas shell, which is a platform, and they'll have their own with all of their information. So it'll work in a way similarly to the way Facebook works, but within what you'll get used to when you're doing your courses here at UBC. we'll turn our attention now to one of our students, Aiden Mundell, going into his second year. So he was through this process, but in person last year. Now in Ontario, where he's going to start off his second year. Aiden's in a manufacturing student. And Aiden, the question for you is, what are your best time management tips?
I'd also like to start with some advantages to online learning. And as students that are starting their career online, you have a unique advantage when it comes to academics. You have the opportunity to completely focus on your #1 priority, which is academics. You don't need the added stress and distractions that come with moving to a new city and experiencing campus life. Then when you do come to campus, you can actually experience the new surroundings while already having a grasp on university level academics. My main tips for online learning and for time management would be to attend lectures in real time when possible. It lets you ask questions to your professors and helps you feel more engaged in the class. Also physically, I would have a dedicated learning area. When you're just watching classes from your bed, you tend to get distracted. Try to free your surroundings from distractions, and as well take physical breaks. Between lectures, maybe stand up, move around. It's not good to be sitting in a chair for 6-7 hours in a day. My last tip would be to use your resources. Schedule office hours with your profs and with your TAs. What used to be casual conversation after class or in the hallway now has to be scheduled. So make sure that you're using all of your resources to the fullest.
Thanks, Aiden. Some great tips. We'll turn our attention now to Shaila Islam. And Shaira, can you talk to us a little bit about some useful resources for academic and personal success that you've looked after so far?
Thank you, Sam. Well, there's so many resources in UBC, and even though we've moved online, I see that most of the resources are still available to be accessed. If students, something which I highly recommend is getting into research. As Mina said, it's as easy as sending an email. And so if you know your professors, if they're in classes with you and they're probably going to talk a little about what their lab does, if you're interested in it, you should definitely email them. And I think that has really helped me in the past. And also UBCO job board does have a lot of postings and research opportunities, which are some are paid, some are volunteer, but both are just as good. You get an exposure to actual engineering things. And even though it might be remote right now, being involved in research really helps, because if you're a part of a lab, you get to read about the projects a lot, and that kind of exposes you to the more practical side of industrial, what the industry is doing, because the professors are working with industries. So I think that is really helpful in the sense of when you want to get involved outside of engineering, which a lot of students do want to do. I personally really enjoyed being a part of Jumpstart every year after I joined UBC as a Jumpstart leader, as a senior leader throughout the years, because it's a really good start to your academic year because you get to interact with so many students. Apart from that, there's a lot of clubs which I highly recommend getting involved in. If you want to get involved with cultural clubs, that's super great. There's a lot of cultural clubs in UBC, and basically there's a lot of opportunities. There's also a lot of design teams. Sending an email or reaching out to them via Instagram is also a great idea, I think, because most of us are on that platform, and so are the clubs. So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Shaira. Our next question is also for both of you. I'll start with Aiden, just so we change it up a little bit. Shaira, would love your response here too, and maybe you could also sort of highlight, and I know we only had a few months for you as students being online, but what kind of opportunities and why is it important to be involved? And I know Shaira, you sort of touched upon that, but maybe Aiden, you can start and let Shaira kind of think about how she can expand on her answer a bit as well.
One of the main reasons why I love the Okanagan campus is because there's so many opportunities to get involved, even in your undergrad. I would suggest looking into research opportunities, as she mentioned. Contact your professors if you feel that there's something that you could help with or something that really interests you. And with clubs, they are operating online, so contact some of them. Motorsports, concrete toboggan, lots of different opportunities there for you. Also look into joining the Engineering Society. They are your representation all the way through your career as engineering students at UBCO. And lastly, I would say that there's many opportunities to volunteer. I would check out Project Literacy, Canadian National Institute for the Blind, and countless other amazing opportunities. It's really important as we are distant to still try to form this sense of community so that you can be engaged and involved in this amazing university.
I think I'd like to expand on my answer a bit. I totally agree with Aiden. Everything he said is, I completely second that. One of the things I think is really important about getting involved in research labs is that you're working in teams, and you have to follow instructions. A lot of the time you have to self-study a lot of things. For example, I really wanted to learn machine learning. I didn't know anything about it prior to the summer. And so I reached out to one of the professors at UBC. He posted something in the UBCO job board. And then in the 4 months, I kind of learned. He allowed me to learn the language and work on his project. So there's a lot of cases where you get to do that. And that's why I think it's very important to get involved, because you are gaining more from it than you're giving, which is what UBC is trying to do for students. And yeah.
I'd like to stay with you both for just another question. I noticed in one of our questions was, what's the commitment to study, like the study commitment? How much time should you allocate to these to studying? But maybe you could also talk a little bit about the importance of maybe creating your own mini study groups or cohorts of smaller groups of fellow students and colleagues to study with. Can you talk about that experience? And Shira, why don't you start with this one?
I think study groups are one of the most beneficial things about being in engineering. I have studied in groups throughout my degree, and that has helped me tremendously. And even though it's a little hard right now because we're remote, I think if we can find a way around it, I'm seeing that a lot of you are already contacting each other on Discord and everything. And if you find people with common classes, I think forming a group with them and just studying on Zoom, just doing your own thing, but just studying really helps, because then questions come up and another person can explain it better than a book can sometimes, and that's super helpful. So yeah, and when it comes to time commitment, to be really honest, the engineering program is you need to work hard. I mean, there's a reason you were admitted into this program, is because you can handle a different amount of stress. So you have to basically really have a planner and plan your day out. You have to keep a certain amount of time for research, for talking to people. You have to, when you're hanging out, one of the best things is studying with people. Study groups helps in that way. So yeah.
I would totally agree. Planning is key. It helps you with your time management, and it is directly related to the success in your courses. During Create last year, when I was a first year student, I remember professor saying that for every hour of lecture, you should be allocating roughly 1 hour to 3 hours of independent study or working on questions or homework, so that you can truly grasp the knowledge. I would say time management is the most important thing that you can learn and improve on in university, as it's absolutely crucial to reduce stress.
Thank you both. We'll move down our panel a little bit, and we want to make sure that we have some time for our academic advising team. Samantha is joining us today. If you have not been in contact with the academic advising team, you should get to know them, whether it be virtually right now, at their website. A lot of resources that can help. And Samantha, maybe a general question to you. Can you talk a little bit about what you've heard from some first year students, incoming students and transfer students about what they've been facing and what they're looking forward to heading into the first day of classes tomorrow?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just really excited and waiting to see how it all goes. And I do think it's going to be a really unique experience. Our professors are doing a lot of really cool things to make the classes work as well as possible. So I think you're going to find that we're using some really unique formats for the classes, and that they're really good. The thing I will say, though, from an advising standpoint, is be really good about giving honest feedback. So if you're having issues connecting with your classes, if you're having problems, reach out early early. Don't assume that you're the only one having this error, or that it's somehow your fault that it's not working properly. Reach out early, reach out to the advising office, reach out directly to your instructors, communicate with TAs, even ask your peers if you're having issues with things, and try to identify problems earlier, because you don't want to have it where you don't understand one concept and then it's going to kind of snowball and become a bigger and bigger problem throughout the year.
I know students, Samantha, are already thinking about their first day of class tomorrow, but could you talk a little bit about why they should be maybe thinking ahead to what program they might want to be taking and for their specialization for next year when it comes to the 4 programs offered at the School of Engineering?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend just be open at this point. Like, don't assume that you've already decided. Stay open to all programs. I talk to a lot of students who coming into first year are sure that they want to be an electrical engineer, and then they get started and they get in it, and they find that some of the topics in maybe mechanical or manufacturing are a lot more interesting. So just be open to learning a lot about yourself this year. Be open to learning a lot about the different programs and the different types of engineering that you can do. Nothing's off the table at this point. So just be excited and be curious and get involved.
Thank you, Samantha. And we'll turn our attention now to co-op. Noticed in the Q&A there have been a whole bunch of questions about co-op, and Sarah's here from the co-op team to answer a few of those. Maybe we could start, Sarah, just with some general co-op discussion. I noticed one student said, is it too late to apply for a co-op? And maybe you could also just reinforce when those information sessions are coming up as well.
Yeah, so the co-op program, if you aren't aware already, it's a great way to start your career by getting involved in the industry before you even graduate. So applications for co-op are currently open for second or third year students. So if you're in first year, you're a little too eager, you have to wait another year before you can apply. But keep in mind, if you are in first year right now and you can't apply yet, applications are competitive, so join some design teams, work on camp or work somewhere else part-time, get some experience so that you can really make your resume stand out when we take a look at that application next year. And the applications for any second or third years this year close on September 13th, so that's the Sunday coming up. One last thing I'll mention that Sam had mentioned earlier is that we do have some FAQ information sessions coming up this week, and you can find all that information on our website.
Thank you very much. I noticed a question about some of those design teams as well, and someone was asking about a robotics team. There's a mechatronics team, there's an IEEE club, I shouldn't say team, that both clubs that people can get involved with as part of our design teams. Motorsport, there's a large list of them, both on the NSOC website and on the School of Engineering's website, where you can get some more background about those. But when we talk about mechatronics, and I noticed most of our first year profs, I think all of them are on the line here, but not necessarily on our panel, so we won't put the pressure on them. Maybe we'll put the pressure on Dr. Chow to talk a little bit about why it's important for students to be involved with being on a design club or being involved with one of those associations.
First of all, being on a club, being with a club, that you get to interact with your peer, and that's an important part of the social life. Right? We are human beings. We all yearn for companionship, and this is where you can actually really make good friends with your senior peer. You can get good study tips. Maybe you can get the lift in the future when you apply for a job. So that's the importance of applying to be part of the club. And the other thing is being part of a club that you actually like will probably shape your view for your future career development. For example, you're doing robotics and you actually probably be interested into a company that in controls or robotic area, which is basically mechatronics. So that's a good opportunity for you to identify your strengths, develop your career opportunities. Last of all, right, and for club activities, the School Engineering has the so-called professional activity fund, which is basically money from part of your tuition fees. And we support club activities, and you get to go to competition, national or sometimes international level. So that's really exciting, actually, to be with your friend, to do competition and see your peers from other university. So I think there's so many benefits of joining a club, but don't join too many, maybe 1 or 2 to start with, and you can always shift, right? That's my tape about clubs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. Dr. Hufar, I was hoping I could ask you a little bit of a question about, well, I noticed there's a couple that came through the chat and the Q&A, about accessing faculty, accessing if you have questions for your instructor. And I noticed all the instructors are here, clearly excited about getting classes started and interacting with students. But could you talk a little bit about what students can expect when it comes to interacting and getting to know their instructors?
Thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, we're all here to support you. I'm confident that if you contact your instructor through Canvas or through their email addresses, which are all on our UBC website, they are definitely going to answer you. They all understand these are the special circumstances that we're dealing with. It's everything online, so students are more under stress maybe. So they are going to be very vigilant in answering you, and I'm sure that they're very excited as well. And if you have any question about a school or you need my help, please do not hesitate to contact me, and maybe I can help you with that.
Thank you, Dr. Rufar. Aiden and Shara,
Sam, can I just
of
follow
course.
up on the question a little
Please.
bit, just add a few more tips. Their student have been asked, how do I call the professor? I think this is an important part. Some professors don't mind to be called on a first name basis, but otherwise, I would highly encourage that when you contact professor, start with the professional title, doctor or professor, last name. And this is important, because we're old school, never start your email with just, hey, that's not good. I think, the professor will let you know how they want them to be contacted. Second of all, because of online learning, I would encourage you to check out the online ethic. This is something, very different when you talk to people in person. Words can be interpreted very differently. And so that's, when you type something in the chat window, when you are discussing on the discussion forum, make sure you're aware the wording, the proper wording you're using in the context.
Thank you. Aiden and Shara, can we talk a little bit about technically what students should be thinking about? I noticed we've had a couple of questions about what kind of computer should a student get. In those specifics, there are some specs that Dr. Tahiri has provided that are posted on the engineering website. But for both of you, technically, what does your setup look like at home?
Well, my at-home setup is a little bit different from my setup that I had in a residence room. If you are able to have a second desktop, that is useful for certain tasks such as SolidWorks, or just having two screens is very useful. But the other thing that I never used in high school and that I use all the time now is a computer mouse. I used to use a trackpad, but when you're doing technical work like SolidWorks or any sort of CAD CAM, you need to have a mouse. So just something small like that. But I would recommend having a dedicated graphics card for simulation work. But other than that, a laptop, internet connection, and you should be good.
Yeah, what Aiden said, it's basically you really need a mouse for SolidWorks. You can't really work with your touchpad at all. I tried it and I failed. I'm sorry, you can see my roommate over there. Also, I think what helps is I use a MacBook Air and I struggle with it, but the only way I get by is I work on a remote computer. A lot of the times you do have access to that if you're working, if you're involved in research. But otherwise, a lot of my friends who code a lot have been using the MacBook Pro. They really like that because it's convenient. And a lot of us are Apple users, so I think the MacBook Pro is pretty good.
I don't want to put you both on the spot, but I do know that we've done some had some discussions with students last year during remote learning, and many of them mentioned that they really enjoyed watching the lecture live, but then being able to go back and watching a recorded version of those lectures. Did either of you do that? And if so, was it helpful?
It certainly, I think that was the best part about remote learning for me. Because a lot of the times what happens is and I know most of my professors are here, but sometimes when you're listening to the professor, if you get distracted for 1 second, you're kind of lost. So it's hard to get back into the conversation if you kind of get distracted for 1 minute. And in that way, getting to the videos and referring back really helps because you can always go back.
Absolutely. Lecture notes are helpful, but there's a point where if you're studying for a midterm and you still don't understand this one concept, hearing somebody's voice explain it is crucial. So I really enjoyed being able to go back and look at the recordings. And there are many people here from many different time zones as well. So knowing that you don't have to be there at exactly the right time and there is that little safety net for you is very nice and very useful.
Thank you. Turning back to academic advising, Samantha, if students have some questions, whether it's the course isn't quite working for them and maybe they're thinking, or even after the next few weeks, they may realize, oh, maybe this workload's a little much. Are there some options, and how do they get in touch with academic advising to discuss those options?
Definitely, yeah. So that's something that a lot of you may be starting to ask questions about or think about. Our office is really easy to contact by email. You can email soe.advising@ubc.ca. I've responded to a few students in the chat who have pretty specific questions to say, why don't you give us a little more detail and we can really dig into your specific answer. I do recommend including your student number in there because sometimes the answer is different depending what you're taking or some other background information. And so it just saves a bit of time for us. If you include your student number, then I can make sure I'm giving you the 100% the right answer. If you want to have a bit of a longer chat with an advisor, like if you're wrestling with some pretty big questions about what you want to take and coursework and that kind of stuff, you can definitely make an appointment with an advisor. So our advising office is offering appointments through the PD portal. So if you go to our advising website, there's a section on there about how to book an appointment there. And it's great. You just go on, you reserve your time frame. You can select a specific advisor, or you can select a specific topic of your meeting. If it's something like, say, you want to ask about minors or options or something like that, it'll direct you to the right advisor. We do add new appointments every few days, though admittedly this time of year it's a little busy. So just be patient on emails, and hopefully we can get all your questions answered as quickly as possible. Regarding making changes and things like that, it is worth reminding you that there is the 5-year degree plan as well. So if you're a student who's selected a 4-year plan at this point, and let's say you attend the first week and a half and you're starting to think, you know what, I'd really rather dial it back a bit. Maybe you're working part-time, maybe you've got some family responsibilities, or maybe you just want to be really involved in some of the clubs and the other leadership opportunities. You can definitely drop an additional course to go to the 5-year degree plan. And we can work with you on those kind of changes. Just make sure that if you do want to make any changes to your academic schedule, that you have those done before the add drop deadline, and that's going to be September 21st.
Thank you, Samantha. We're quickly running out of time. And I think we've addressed most of the questions in the Q&A, and a reminder that on School of Engineering social channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we'll look to respond, and also on YouTube as well. We'll look to answer some of these questions on those platforms as we move ahead. But for the remainder of our last few minutes, maybe we'll go back across our panel to see if anyone has any last words of wisdom for this first year and new to UBC cohort. Dr. Chow, any last words of encouragement?
Really, at this stage, I think that you probably have heard too many tips or suggestions. I think, the important thing is get on with the regular schedule. Tomorrow is the first day of the class. Make sure you attend the class. Instructors will typically go through very important information regarding their lectures or their classes. So those are the, getting into a habit. I think that's very, very important.
And pay attention to that syllabus. I mean, it may seem like a boring document, but there's some important key dates I know that you always remind me about in course syllabi for students. Dr. Hurfar, any last words?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the pre-recorded video, remember we are all here to support you. It can be very overwhelming to attend, first year university, let alone to be online. Don't feel isolated, reach out. We're all here. If you have any question, as I said, and you don't know who you should ask or approach to get the answer, you can just contact me. And if I know the answer, I will send it to you. If I don't, I make sure that you get to the right channel to get the answer. So do not hesitate. Do not feel behind. Just make sure that now that you join the School of Engineering, you're part of our family, and we take care of our family. So you're here, we're working together to make sure that this year is as successful as other years that we have delivered. And again, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Ghaffar. Sarah from the co-op office, you are an engineer. You've gone through an engineering program. Any words of wisdom for these students?
Yeah, that's such a loaded question, but my main tip for any students going through the engineering program is, it's important to really focus on your academics, but don't forget about all the other stuff that you can get involved in and making those meaningful connections and friendships that you're going to have for a lifetime. So don't get so focused on academics and getting those A's and B's, as long as you really find that balance in your lifestyle. Make sure you stay mentally happy and healthy, and just really focus on, your school, but also yourself.
Thank you, Sarah. Samantha, before we get to our students, any words from the academic advising team?
Just ask lots of questions, talk to us. We don't necessarily do just academic advising. We can be a bit of a triage point. So if there's other things that you have questions about but aren't sure who to ask, if you need help getting put in touch with health and wellness, if you need help getting in touch with about, where do I go to pay my tuition, or where do I go to do this, we can tell you, okay, you need to email this office, or you need to email this person. So if in doubt, you can contact us and we can direct you accordingly as well, similar to what Dr. Ghaffar offered as well.
Thank you. Shira, your final thoughts?
Sorry. Just to be in contact with your professors and your peers. I think that is number one, to stay motivated. I think during this time and this pandemic, if you kind of, study alone or be completely isolated, that can hamper your studies and your mental health. So I think being connected with people really will be the best way to go about this.
Thank you. And Aiden?
So I was just where you guys are last year, and I remember all of the emotions. It's very exciting. You guys are starting off on an awesome journey. My biggest tip would be, don't be afraid of your professors. They are here for you. They're people like you too, and they want to see you succeed. They truly do. So do not be afraid to reach out to them. Attend their office hours. Just click that button that says go into their virtual office. They're here for you all the way.
Thank you to all the members of our panel, and thank you to the students who are joining us here today, whether it be synchronously live or recorded. We really, truly appreciate that. As Dr. Ghaffar had mentioned, the School of Engineering is here to support you in whatever way we can. UBC is here to support you. Remember that this is a community, a very special community of engineers at the School of Engineering. So make those bridges, and maybe it's a little bit easier even in a virtual world where you can find a platform to meet with your fellow students out there and figure out ways to succeed and become engineers. So again, welcome to UBC, welcome to the School of Engineering, and thank you for joining us here this afternoon.